guys, my name's Melody. I am 19 years old and I've been attending River of Life for a year and a half now. I grew up in Crown Point, Indiana, and I grew up in a loving Christian family. I am the middle child of 5 kids, and I have been going to Christian schools most of my life. While going to Christian schools, I had a lot of worth issues. I looked at everyone's families around me. I compared myself to everyone. I just thought everyone's life was better than mine. My parents were divorced, but most of my other friends' parents were together. So I looked at everyone's life just as they were better than mine. In middle school, I started making unwise decisions. I started vaping, I started partying. Just at a young age, I started chasing after guys. It was just a lot of unwise decisions. And then in high school, I went to a public school, and that's really when it went downhill for me. I got involved with the fun kids at school. I was partying a lot, doing a lot of drugs, just drinking a lot. I really just was doing what I thought the fun, normal high school experience was. But that was leading me to failing school and just making friends that were not actually my real friends. I stepped away from the Lord. I obviously grew up knowing him, but he wasn't ever my savior or my Lord. He was just there. And my sophomore year of high school, I continued to party and I continued to make unwise decisions. But then COVID hit, and COVID was a time that I had a lot of time on my hands. I just got into a new relationship, and me and my boyfriend were always together. We were partying together, doing drugs together, drinking together. One day I was hanging out at a family member's house, and this family member really struggled with addiction. And I really didn't know at a time, but they offered me and my boyfriend some pills, and since we have done every other drug, we were like, why not? So we took this drug, and it actually made us really sick at first, but it made us feel good, and it really started out just like any other addiction. We started doing it every other day, every other weekend, and then one day I went home and I realized I felt weird, and I realized that I was withdrawing from this substance that I was taking. And you would think that I would stop it after this point, but I continued to do it, and I fell on my face. I got super addicted to this substance. My family was obviously, they saw me losing weight. They didn't know what to do. They've never really seen addiction. So I was just spiraling out of control, and they just didn't know what to do. They loved me. And then one day my dad pulled me into my room, and he was like, what is going on? I told him I was doing drugs, and I think I was addicted to a substance. And he tried to help. He took away my car, and he was like, just stay here for the next month. But obviously the addiction had a strong hold on me, and I ended up leaving. In the midst of all this, my sister was in a program called YWAM. It's Youth with a Mission, and she was doing a DTS, which is 5 months. It's where you really study the Bible, and then you go on outreach. And she came home, and she fell in love with this program. She felt so much closer to the Lord. And my dad sat me down and was like, you can either go to YWAM with Alana, which was across the country, or you can go to rehab. And I was like, well, I'm not going to rehab, so I will drive to Montana with Alana and do a summer programs for a month. And so me, my stepmom, and Alana all drove from Crown Point, Indiana to Montana. And this was the worst car ride ever. I was withdrawing. School hasn't even ended yet. I was trying to finish my finals so I would pass senior year. But we got there, and I met a bunch of new people. I was sober. I was having fun. I was outside. I was in Montana, and life was good until I got kicked out of the program because I was still lying and I was still not doing what I was supposed to. So I called my dad again. This was after about 4 weeks of being part of this program. I called my dad again and I'm like, I got kicked out of this program. And this was yet another disappointing call my dad had to get about his daughter. And he calls me back and he tells me he came across a program called Adult and Teen Challenge. He told me it was a year-long program, but if it wasn't a good fit, I only had to stay till school started, which was about a month away. So for some reason, I felt some kind of peace about this program. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. July 15th, 2021, I walked through the doors of Adult and Teen Challenge. And this girl with blonde hair and a big smile said, "Hi, welcome home." And I thought, no way I'm doing this. I come in and she's going through all my stuff. She takes my phone and they took almost all my clothes because we had this dress code. We have this orientation period and it's where you just settle into the program. You can't talk to anyone. I couldn't call my dad. I couldn't call my family for 2 weeks. And I just remember this 2 weeks being the longest 2 weeks of my life. I remember talking to the Lord. I'm like, Lord, anywhere but here. I will stay sober. I will go to school anywhere but here. This is not meant for me. I was also the youngest one there. I'm 19 and all these other ladies are like 30s and 40s and 50s, but they really all surrounded me with love. They were all so kind to me. And a day before the 2 weeks ended, I just remember surrendering to the Lord. I ran to a staff member and I was like, I'm staying, I've decided. And she was so excited. The next day I called my dad and I told him that I was committing to this program. And that was huge for him to hear, since I was the kid that if I made a commitment, I would probably not do it. I never kept my promises. I was just the kid that didn't follow through with anything. So when he heard this, he was so proud of me. I did 1 full year at Adult and Teen Challenge and finished my education. And I can honestly say this was the hardest thing I've ever done. But in the long run, it was so worth it. I fell in love with the Lord. I made so many friends. I met so many people. I learned self-discipline. I learned how to public speak and so many other things. I studied the Bible and I just finally went through with what I said. And in May, I graduated high school, and on July 15th of 2022, I completed Adult and Teen Challenge. And now I am an intern at Adult and Teen Challenge. I am giving back another year to the program that saved my life, and I'm continuing to learn so many things. I love my team that I work with, and the Lord is just continuing to work on me and just get me ready for the next thing He has for me. I couldn't be more grateful for where He has put me in my life. I stand in amazement every day of His goodness, and I literally have front row seats to seeing Him change lives and take people from addiction to being able to live normal lives, and just it's just so amazing every day. In John 16:33, it says, I've told you these things so that you may have peace. In this world, you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. This verse isn't only for me, it's for you too. If you feel like you're in a place where you have no peace, I encourage you to take heart, because the Lord has already overcome the world.